becoming specialized is both an advantage and disadvantage. Similarly, in a law firm, a small law firm, you're going to know that the ins and outs of that law firm from top to bottom, because you'll be doing a lot of the legal secretary work. Sometimes you'll have to go to court to file motions. Sometimes you'll have to arrange for someone to be served with papers, or you might have to serve the papers yourself. You might also have to accompany the attorney to court. You're going to be doing a lot of the client intake interviews, things of that nature, when you work at a large law firm. Some of the disadvantages of working for a small law firm include the following. Obviously, there's usually less support staff, which means, and I don't mean for you to take this literally, but you might end up cleaning the bathroom, right? Not necessarily literally, but it really depends, right? It really depends on the nature of your job. Let's say if you were working for me and I'm a solo practitioner, it's just me and you. So that might mean, I might send you out for lunch. And you'll go get lunch for me and get lunch for yourself too while you're out. And because it's that small and that intimate. But that also means that you bear a lot of you shoulder a lot of the responsibilities that in a larger firm you wouldn't have to worry about doing, right? You wouldn't really necessarily have to worry about going to the post office and mailing all of these motions off, okay? Because there'll be a mail room, and there'll be people there to handle that. Paralegals may do other tasks, including secretarial clerical work. We already spoke about that. And think about differences in compensation. Obviously, compensation is typically lower in a small law firm. Small firms may provide fewer benefits, and small firms may offer a convenient location, may not require an expensive wardrobe, and may offer free parking. Okay, so there's a lot of different advantages. Also, if you work for me as a solo practitioner, let's say you're a mother, and let's say you're a single mother, that could be something that between you and we could work it out, right? If there's days where you have to come in a little bit earlier or a little bit later to accommodate your kid's schedule, because it's you and I, that's something that we can work out. When you work in a private firm, you don't have that luxury or that option.
Excuse me. Yes, you are talking about private too.
Yeah.
You are talking about
Yeah, generally the public firm, that's not an option
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
a mistake.
Yeah, that's not an option at all. Okay. Can somebody pick up reading B? Corporations and other business organizations?
Corporation and other business organizations. Nearly 1/5 of our paralegals work for corporations. Most large corporations hire in-house attorneys to handle corporate legal affairs. Some have hundreds of attorneys on their payrolls. Paralegals who work for corporations do so under the supervision of an attorney, and the following are a few of the types of tasks corporate paralegals may perform. For more information on duties in corporations, see Chapter 8. Organizing corporate meetings and maintaining the necessary record. Drafting employee contracts and benefit plans. Preparing financial reports. Monitoring and reviewing government regulations to ensure corporate compliance. Lawsuit-related tasks. The advantages of working for a corporation include higher salaries than
Law firm.
law firms, more regular hours, less stressful than law firm work, typically
What's that? Oh, thanks. You have something for everybody else?
I'm so sorry. I come late.
may I continue?
Yes, please.
Typically, nobility hours include governments, a growing number of
Okay, wait, hold on right there. All right, so now, when you work for a corporation, corporations are generally massive entities, business entities, right? So a corporation might have 500 attorneys, just that one particular location.
Wow.
Right? Let's say, for example, I should say 500 employees, not 500 attorneys. Sometimes it can have 500 attorneys. So let's say, for example, if you work for Geico Insurance Company, and you are a paralegal for Geico. Geico is a massive corporation, all right? In one location, where they have in-house counsel, there might be, I don't know, 50 to 100 attorneys.
Wow.
For every one attorney, there might be 2 to 3 paralegals, right? Some corporations operate differently. For every 2 attorneys, there might be 1 paralegal. So that 1 paralegal will be responsible for those 2 attorneys, right? And they have to share that person. So it really depends on the size of the corporation and the volume of work that they actually have.
So basically paralegals do most of the work? Not
No.
required. No?
No,
We
that's
have-
not fair to say. Paralegals do a very specialized,
What they have to do.
huh?
We do, we're gonna do what we have to do, not most of the job.
No, because you can't possibly do most of the job because you're not an attorney. There are things that you can't do, right? For example, if I have to do a deposition where there's going to be the person who got into the car accident or the person who is suing Geico, and I'm doing a deposition, you as a paralegal can't conduct a deposition because you don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
And you're not trained to do it, right? So you're not licensed to do it. You can't go into court to conduct a trial, obviously because you're not an attorney.
Yeah.
You can't even send a motion to court with your name on it. You might do the motion. I'll read over the motion and I'll have you make corrections. But ultimately, it's my name that's going on it. So if somebody's going to get in trouble, it's not going to be you. It's going to be me. At least in terms of the court. Now, what happens in house if you mess up is a totally different matter. But ultimately, that attorney's name and most importantly, their license is on the line. So, no, it's not safe to say that they do most of the work, because they don't do most of the work. They do their, what they're paid to do. It says that working for a corporation is less stressful. I don't think that that's true. It's just a different type of environment, right? And working in a corporation, there's a certain level of professionalism that's expected. So you as a paralegal, a lot of times you have to be a lot more polished in terms of your personal presentation on a daily basis, how you dress when you come to work. The expectation level is different. You can't come in there, wearing, your hoochie mama clothes. Your clothes that you might wear going out to a club, as opposed to, if you work at a law firm with just one attorney, he might allow you to wear wherever you want to wear. You could come almost wearing your damn pajamas, right? Because no one is going to see you, right? But in a corporation, you have all types of people walking around in the corporation. corporation. You could have the president of the corporation walking around, down to, janitors walking around, right, and everything in between. So, and you have clients walking around. So, if they are entertaining a client, right, the client's coming over, considering hiring that particular law firm or that corporation, they're going to want you to dress appropriately, right? You're trying to make a good impression. If people are running around the halls, screaming up and down the halls, that's not a corporation that somebody's going to feel comfortable paying $500 an hour to the attorneys to handle their legal affairs. Okay. So, government. A growing number of paralegals are employed by the government, administrative agencies. Most paralegals who work for the government work for administrative agencies such as the EPA or State Environmental Resource Department. Paralegals may conduct legal research and analysis, do investigative work, examine documents, and engage in other tasks. Within the federal government, the U.S. Department of Justice employs the largest number of paralegals, followed by the Social Security Administration and the Department of the Treasury. The advantages of working for the government include regular working hours. Okay, generally, you work for the government, you're going to be working 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. You work at a private law firm, you might start your day at 9, you might not get out at 9 until 9, right? But that's obviously that's calculated into your salary. But if that's the expectations of the job, remember this is not the government, this is a private firm. That's the expectations of the job. If you don't like it, quit. They'll find somebody who'll do it, right? There was a time when the culture at large law firms, at least in the city, was that you would work, you would get a dinner break where they would basically pay for your dinner, and the amount of money that they allotted for dinner might be $50, and you would go and order expensive food and food be delivered and stuff like that, and then when it was time to go home, you would either have a cab take you home, probably now it would be an Uber, or they would actually have drivers.
That's from the private.
From the private. Yeah. So it sounds good, but who wants to be work from 9 to 9? So.
If you don't have anything else to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're young, no.
If you don't have anything else to do, that's kind of pathetic.
Perfect.
All right. Anyway, so coming back, regular working hours, more vacation time, no billable hours, comprehensive employee benefits. Okay. Legislative offices. Legislators in the U.S. Congress and some state legislatures may have paralegals on their staff. Duties include legal research and writing, including legislative history, research, and summaries. Then we have law enforcement offices and courts. Many paralegals work for government law enforcement offices and institutions. Public prosecutors and public defenders rely on paralegals for assistance. Other government settings include federal or state administrative offices. So some of the offices in law enforcement that paralegals work at might be the office of the district attorney, right? The office of the United States attorney, working for the Administration for Children's Services, right? ACS. Working for the Human Resource Administration, right? So there's a host of governmental agencies that do law enforcement type of work where you find paralegals, right? In the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, there's like 500 attorneys. So just as many attorneys there are, there's double that amount of support staff. Hold on a minute. Hello? Hey, Clark. Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, yeah, but what, I'm busy right now, but what's up? And what's her reason for not making it? All right, yeah, I'm gonna email that, your son's attorney right now, cause this is exactly what I was telling her. And she's walking around, trying to dictate everything, and she doesn't even know what she's going on. Yeah, maybe not so much, because she'll dig her own grave. You just give it time, she'll dig her own grave. So, I hate to put it in those terms, but, I mean, that's the reality of what it is. Yep. And why can't she make it? She didn't say? No problem. Okay. All right, no problem. And he thought that he was gonna be meeting up with her? Great. All right, no problem. I'll talk to you in the next couple of days. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Yep. All right, brother, good night. All right. Legal aid offices. Some paralegals work in legal aid offices which provide legal services to the disadvantaged at low or no cost. Advantages of working in a legal aid office include the satisfaction that comes with helping needy individuals, a wide array of responsibilities, the possibility of representing clients before administrative agencies, and during judicial proceedings. The major disadvantage of working in a legal aid office is the lower salary. All right, that's going to be typical of most governmental agencies, right? Unless you're working maybe for the federal government, the rate at which you progress in terms of your salary growing is a lot slower, right? So literally, you might start out in a governmental office, I don't know, making $35,000 a year. I don't even know what the salary, I'm just throwing numbers out. And you might have to work 10 years to see your salary go up to $55,000, $50,000, $60,000. Whereas you go to a private firm, your salary might start at $65,000. And then over time, it can grow up to, over $100,000. It really depends on the size of the firm and how good you are. Okay, so it really does range. Then there's something called freelance paralegals, right? These are almost like guns for hire, right? Some experienced paralegals may own their own businesses and perform specified or legal work and projects for attorneys on a contract basis. This is called freelancing, right? So let's say, for example, I don't need a paralegal all year round. I just need a paralegal to handle things for me during my busy season, whatever that is, right? So I might just hire somebody freelance who I might, have a contract with them where they work for me for 6 months and they might earn $30,000. Okay, I might not even be the only person they're working for.
So you have a law firm?
Yeah, a law firm of one. It's me.
Yeah, I'm interesting too, because sometimes people don't know languages and fill applications, then pay money for somewhere. Can we open like the office then do like this job?
I don't understand your question.
For example, if I want to apply for citizenship, but I don't.
What language do you speak?
Russian, for
And
example.
you?
I'm Russian and Uzbek too.
Right, so for example, you might be able to get a job as a paralegal or working in a law firm somewhere in Brighton Beach, right, where the community predominantly are people from that part of the world, right? I can't necessarily, I can go to Brighton Beach and open up a law firm, but how successful am I going to be? I don't speak Russian. You know, my race could be an issue for people. So that's a major disadvantage. Similarly, if I speak Spanish and I go open up a law firm in Washington Heights, and I happen to be Dominican, and I speak Spanish, and I have 10, paralegals working for me, and they all speak Spanish, and they all go dance bachata on Friday nights, then, that's going to be people who are going to be able to relate to my client.
To the clients, yeah.
Okay? And so on and so forth. That's the advantage of being in a location like New York. Okay? So New York is very unique in that regard. Whereas, if you are Russian and let's say you move to South Carolina, it's probably not a big Russian population in South Carolina. So it's not going to be to any advantage to you, in the fact that you're multilingual. So that's that. But sometimes, like I said, it depends on the size of the firm. You might work for a large corporation that's an international corporation. They might have an office here in New York. They might also have an office in Russia. They might have an office in London. They might have an office somewhere in South America. They are large firms just like that.
Is it possible to work in paralegal, like immigration law?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wherever you have an attorney,
Absolutely. Especially in something like immigration law, because